Hello. So I've got this dart torn all apart in here, not by choice, but I had a few different issues crop up with this thing. Once I got it up and running, realized a couple things didn't work, or they didn't work right. So the first thing I had to do was repair the speedometer, which I'm not even sure I repaired it. It was broken. I think I've already showed that. So we'll see. And then the second thing was I had to do major surgery and excavate this heat and air control head here that's giving trouble. So what's up with this thing? These heat and air controls are different. The boxes are different. Those are in the car, and the heat and air control itself is different between a car that has air conditioning and a car that does not. The one that does not have air conditioning is a lot more simple. Doesn't have any vacuum. It's just all cables. But this dude here has got a heat and air, the blower switch. It's got the rest of it is, well, it's got a cable that controls the temperature, which comes in right here. There will be a clamp on this thing here and goes over here. But of course, you have to disconnect that when you take this out. And then the rest of this is this unit here. And the unit's what's giving trouble. This thing's kind of a combination setup, and what it does is you have push buttons on the front of it where you sit, and you push these buttons according to what you want to have happen. So you have off, you have max AC, which is recirc, then you have AC, and then you have heat, and then you have defroster. So that's how that works. You operate those things. It's got vacuum controls in the rear of it here that operate several. Sorry, this thing's not agreeing too well here, but never does. Anyway, so you have several different vacuum connections, 7 to be precise. You have a couple of those two single spade connectors. Those control what's called the temperature switch on the evaporator box, and that's what turns the compressor on and off, cycles it. And then you have the 3 terminals. That plug, there's power in and then power out, and it controls the fan. So the way this would work is if you had the fan turned on to one of the selections and then you had this thing turned off, the fan shouldn't run. But if you put it on max AC or AC anything else, it should start the fan up. So it's quite a bit more involved and quite a bit more complicated. But what's not complicated with this thing is what's wrong with it. It will not operate. I don't understand why I didn't check this more closely when I had this all apart here on the bench, but I didn't. So this is the off button to the left, and I'll try to demonstrate. You're supposed to be able to push the off button in, and it'll go in barely with some effort, quite a bit of effort. Matter of fact, it didn't even go in all the way. I'm pushing on it pretty hard. I don't want to push on it too hard. And then you can push in that one just barely goes in. And see what happens is it's like a round robin type deal. When you push one in, it pushes the other ones out. So that one worked a little bit. If I try to push this one, sorry that light's in the way. So that one works decently. And that one works decently. Let's show that again. But anyway. But it should not take this much effort to get this to work. And I noticed also when I was fooling with it that I had no heat. So that's something going on in there possibly. So I went on the interwebs and I found a couple replacement of these 5-button electro vacuum switches, we may call it. And I found this first one. This came as a package deal. Got a really good price on these. These are still pretty commonly available. As a matter of fact, well, this one, let's just start out. This one is a replacement from Chrysler. It was never used. This is a service replacement that has a later number on it. This one here is 3431020K, and that's the date code. A lot of people don't know how to read these date codes, but that's 285th day of 68, which corresponds with this car over there. And this one was produced, looks like, since it's got a later date code, I would assume this is 1979. 317 is 79, so it's about 1980. So it's old, but it actually works, or it moves. Let's leave it at that. Let's say it moves. I don't know if it works yet. I got to do a little testing on it, but you see how they just go in and out like a kid's toy or something. And then this one was sold to me as possibly not working very well, because he wrote on in his ad, and he wrote on it, on the little piece of towel that's wrapped around it, that it sticks. Well, that's our problem already. And so it works fine, but the off button is not working great on it. So, but I think it can be used. And these things are not. You can't service them because they're all put together with glue. Like they're melted. They got melted lugs on them. So anyway, that's what that is. So anyway, I've got to go in here, and I've got to take this thing out and carefully take the buttons off of it and all that. And swap it out. I'm not even gonna mess with it. I'm probably gonna take this thing apart just to see what happened to it. But they're done. I mean, you can't. There's no repairing it. So we'll look at the inside of it and see what's going on with it. But I did bring a little diagram out here. It's got some notes I made. So I don't know if I did that the right way, but it doesn't matter necessarily. But anyway, this, like I said, for test this thing, and then you got this power in here. So I'm going to test these to make sure they're actually doing something. I'm probably going to hook some vacuum up through them too to see. I'll go into the car in there, and I'll determine which lines are the ones that bring in vacuum from the engine and the ones that go out. The main thing I'm concerned about, the air conditioning has been all apart on that, so I'm not worried about air conditioning, not anytime soon, if ever. But what I am concerned about is at least at some point trying to get some heat. So I'd like for two things to happen. Make sure the blower works, and make sure that the heater, this thing switches vacuum to the heater water valve out there. So I have some heat come out, and preferably some defrost. So I may probably take some time. It's just a beautiful day today. I mean, a beautiful day. So I'm probably going to take some time just to fool around with my vacuum gauge, my vacuum pump, and see if I can get things to work in there, see if they are working. And as I said, I wish I had thought to test this when I had the dash out. I didn't. So here I am. All right, let me get on with this. Okay, so I thought, just for the fun of this, instead of just saying that, oh, it's broken, we can't fix it, it kind of goes against my mantra anyway. So I've got these little spots drilled out with a drill. Looks like they're just like kind of like plastic rivets sort of that were melted in. So let's just take this thing apart. Remember that, well, I got two more to look at. And we'll see what's in here. Maybe it can be fixed. Okay, looks like that's sort of a seal thing. Okay, that's a good. Okay, and then you have a stack of sheaves here. They're in here. I don't know what they're made out of, but before I do anything to lose where I'm at with this, I'm going to mark them. Okay, so I can decide to put this back together. Maybe I can put it back together. Okay, I'll mark this one. Hop. Hop. Hop -1. Hop -2. Hop 3. That way I know which order to put them back in, if I put this thing back together. Okay, so okay, you got back here. This looks like those are seals. They don't move. Those things there, they don't move. So what's it? Woohoo! Of course I'm gonna drop it. All right, so in here you have electrical outlet, which should come out. All right, yeah. And then you have some metal under there, and this outlet, which has got 3 terminals on it. All right. There's the slides. So the slides have got just pieces of metal. It's just a plastic slide with this piece of metal fixed into it, which I'm not. Oh, okay. It's got like a little. If I tab here underneath this, so I bet if I. There we go. Yeah. That's all there is to that. That's all there is all the way across here. There's electrical. That's to make electrical contacts. There is a piece of metal right here, up there. Okay, so I'm going to mess around with this thing a little bit more and see. I may can repair this, so I'll give it the old try. I'll be back. Now that I've had a chance to look at this thing closely, it's pretty ingenious. So what's going on in here is, this is the back of it, and it's got vacuum connections on one end and the electrical on the other. And these, I can't take these out. These are just little slide surfaces, but if I were to take my screwdriver and go in here with this, you can actually move. There's a shuttle in here that moves back and forth. And same here. And what it does is, depending on which one is being moved or whatever, it completes or breaks a circuit on this end and routes vacuum on this end. So that's pretty neat. And the way this works is you got all these slides in here. So when you push the buttons, these things move. I have them marked, but I'm going to have to clean them. So I've taken a picture of them too. And they have little, you see a couple of them have little tabs on them. Be careful about that. But they want to move the electrical switch and then want to move the vacuum switch, we'll say. And that's all it is. And this is just mechanical. And then up here, it's got these things, these little metal contacts is what they are. And they, according to where they in or out, they contact these pieces of metal. Like this one here, you can see this one's got a lot of use on this one there. So they just, work to complete the electrical circuit, whatever that may be. So it's pretty neat the way this thing works. And I think I can get this thing working again. I think I can get it going again. So I'm gonna try to do. I don't. The binding up was not in here. This thing's, it's a little It's a little scuzzy in there, needs to be cleaned, but it's not, that's not, I don't think that's what's going on with it. I think it's just that there's this, I noticed one of these slides here, the vacuum slides, has got some wear on it, pretty good piece of wear on it, and it's been kind of fraying. So I'm just going to take my, be careful, I'm going to take my knife or a blade or whatever, and I'm just going to kind of, it's got a lip on it, I'm just going to kind of get that taken down a little bit without opening it up, and then I'll clean these things and clean everything, just clean all these contacts and everything I can clean. And this thing, this electrical slide is working a little bit stiffly, and I can't take these out because these are peened with that's melted plastic right there, and I don't want to get into that. So we're not going to get into it, I don't believe. So I could change my mind, but I think I'll work with that a little bit, see if I can get it working good. So, all right, keep on. I'm reassembling this unit now, and I have cleaned everything and put all the contact terminals back in and put all the buttons back in. And this one at the end that was sticking so bad, the one right where my little finger is, that's only just the off control. So I've bent those little tabs in there. I bent those down just a little bit, take some of the tension off of it. It seems like it makes that move a lot easier now. And like I said, I took a picture of these wafers when I took them out. I'd marked them, and then I took a picture of that, and then I cleaned them up. So maybe take a couple pictures in case one is blurry or whatever, but just make sure you keep those in order from bottom to top or top to bottom, whatever. And I remember now, I had looked at something, somebody trying to fix one of these things somewhere, an old one, and I remember those are called wafers. I don't know what they're made out of, sort of a fiberglass resin. They're pretty tough. So anyway, all I have left to do is I have to put that back on. So I had to line up those electrical switch, which I did test. It is working, and the vacuum slider there, which I didn't test. I hope it works. We'll find out. But I mean, there's not an easy way to test it, really. So I did go ahead and just drill some screw holes in this thing, and I'm going to use screws to attach it. And I took this, when I had this all apart, I took a piece of fine grit sandpaper and put it on the bench here and just kind of milled this thing down so there wasn't any projections there that didn't need to be there. So everything I could do to get this thing to hopefully work better. But I'm enthusiastic about it so far. It may not sound like it, but I am, because heck, if this thing works, that's great, because I can put those back in my stores there. Excellent. We'll have to find out. I got to get this thing back together enough to run the engine, and we'll see what happens. I think I fixed it. All right, so I'm testing the electrical part of this deal, and when it's in off, which is off is depressed over here, you should not have any air conditioner, you should not have any blower. So that's independent of this switch up here. So when I turn this thing, if this is working, now when I turn this, push the button for this is max AC, this is AC, this is heat, and this is defrost. Push the AC button, we should get continuity on the meter. We do. And the way it's hooked up now, I should be able to go all the way across, and it should keep the blower on. Correct. Turn it off, goes off. A switch, come on with the air conditioner, go off with the heat and the frost. Yep. All right, now we're going to check to make sure that these two terminals are the connector for the temperature control switch. That's what cycles the compressor. So this should only get continuity when I turn it to either max AC or AC. Correct, correct, off, off. You notice it does not run the compressor into frost on one of these. There we go. Yeah, I think I fixed it. So, still doesn't work like a brand new one, but it works so much better than this one. It works just about the same as this one does. This one might work a little bit better, but we'll keep that one for the other car. I think this is going to work. It has the toughest time turning it off when it's in defrost. If it's on air conditioner, it's easy. And plus, I think maybe exercising it, using it is going to help it. So, anyway, there's just a limit of what I'm going to do to stuff like this. I mean, it's, I've had to, I try my best to get it fixed, but to get parts for them is, it can be expensive. So I want to try to fix whatever I can. So I think hopefully this is going to work. So we'll have to, I guess what I was going to say, we need to test the vacuum portion of it. So, and I think I'm going to see if I can get, without breaking it, I'm going to get a brighter bulb for this. Because these things, I don't think they've ended up being, you look in here, kind of, the way these things are now, they're kind of orange. So I don't think they started out being orange. I think they started out being clear, but they're orange now. But I can live with orange. I mean, it's funny that they got a blue cover over them, and they're orange. Like I said, I think they turned orange. Okay, guys, it'll be a little while before I get this thing back in the car, so I think I'm going to post this just as a how-to. And I'm glad I'm not confused on this one like I was the other video. I don't know what happened to me, man. I must have been having a bad day or something. Because I was sure that I found a mystery on that Slant 6, and there's nothing to do with any of it. Just nonsense. But I think I'm all there on this one. So hopefully, if you have one of these, it's not working right, not working well, don't be afraid to take it apart and try to fix it. Because this one turned out well. I just used these small screws on it, got it back together, and now this is reminiscent of that Ford, what do they call it, the EAC or whatever it was, the climate control I took out of that Ford truck and had to repair. And just a few people jumped all over me for saying that they were unrepairable. But I don't care. Say whatever you want to, but I fixed it, didn't I? Alrighty, that's what I do here. When it breaks, I fix it. So, anyhow, I am still, believe it or not, how the holdup is now. We're still in the middle of it. I'm still making a large video for this. I thought I'd just fill up some time by putting up some different things in the way, but I am still looking for a windshield for that car. The one that was in it, you may recall, was cracked in several places and had a bullseye in it. And I have a windshield that's not cracked, but it's the one that came out of that 68 Plymouth Valiant, and I'm not going to use it because it is fogged all around the edges, and I can't stand that. I cannot stand it. So these are not the same windshield that goes in like a Scamp or a Swinger. This one is taller, so it has to come out of a sedan. Yeah, it can come out of a Valiant sedan, two-door sedan, but it cannot come off of like a Swinger, like a fastback. The roof line is lower on these. So anyway, once I locate a windshield, we'll get that puppy in there, and this thing's pretty much, I've been picking away at different things on it, just kind of taking up time, but I got to get this thing out of here because it's getting warm, and I've got the other car, the green Dart, that the Swinger, I want to get in here and get going on it. Because I believe I'm going to sell my Chrysler imminently, within the next month. So, if anybody's interested in that car, let me know. But it's been here long enough, and I just don't drive it enough, and it's just, I think it'd be better to go to a new owner now. The time has come. So, all right, guys. Well, I appreciate you watching, and we'll get this thing back together here soon, and hopefully my repair has worked. I may do another video tomorrow evening. I may just hook up some vacuum, because with this thing running, you can't hear anything. It's so loud. So I may see, I've got a vacuum pump over here. I don't know how much it pulls, but I may see if I can work up a way to attach vacuum to that thing from the feed from the engine, and we'll just use that to test this thing before we put it all back together. Because talking to the dog over there. The dog came over here. They got a beautiful brown lab, chocolate lab, and I saw something out of the corner of my eye, and she was standing right there in the door looking at me. So, golly, that's not the first time either. They have. She got a couple of friends down the road, doggy friends. I think I said this before, but the dog, they will come running around the yard, and they'll all come through here like a freight train, one after the other, and zoom right through here. Don't even slow down. Another video I want to make here too is I'm not going to show all of it, but I've been working on this garage wide open about some organization stuff. This is a small shop. This thing is, I think, 20 by 20. And it may be 20 by 22, something along those lines, but it's small, and I mean, I have to fight for every bit of space I have in here. So I went to town with every bit of creativity I could come up with to get things stored and off the floor and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about that too coming up. So I want to ask a favor. I know the people that I'm referring to will never see this, but you guys are killing me with the shorts. I don't like shorts. I mean, some of them are funny, like, whatever, a cat or something. But please cut that down. Will you please? Instead of just showing editing a video together, showing your project, they're doing the little pieces of like, here I am putting a door handle on a car. Here I am rolling the window up. Here I am turning the windshield wipers on. Here I am beating on something with a hammer for 30 seconds. Whatever. Man, I have no interest in that. Y'all got to cut that out. I know y'all get monetization from those, and they get views, but jeez, I don't like them. Anyway, what I like don't matter. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one.